Well, hello, welcome to a very wet and windy West London. It's Chairboys live from the Brentford Community Stadium. Not exactly a pub on all four corners, but a very impressive place to play football. Now, I thought, since you can't be here today, we would go and have a look round before the Chairboys' first league game here. So come on, it's very wet, very windy, very cold. Let's go inside. Well, hello, welcome along. Caught me off guard there. It's 2:20 Saturday afternoon. We're at the Brentford Community Stadium. My name's Dan Simpson. This is a brand new Chairboys Live. Thank you very much for joining me. Kick off in 45 minutes. See if you can hear the noise around me. Who knows if Wycombe can do it today? To come here to waste time, to niggle, to get under their skin. Can we do it and win just like we did 5 years ago today down in the South Coast? Shout out to our guy for that one. After 4 weeks without a game, the Chairboys return to championship action down here at the stunning Brentford Community Stadium. Seriously, it's a shame that you can't be here more than many other games this season. I'll be honest, it looks a bit plonked here, like Lego, like brilliantly like Lego. It shows how meticulously planned it's all been, how thought through. We take on Brentford. The Bees are fifth in the league, 45 points after 24 games. They're in good form too. They've not lost in the league since the 24th of October. 13 points from their last 5 games. For Wycombe, looks like this is the time that we need to turn the screw. After our fun and frolics of the last few weeks in the FA Cup, it's back to league action. We need to start turning those draws into wins. That's what you feel needs to happen to give us a chance. And you reckon with Uche playing himself into form, kind of changing the way that we set up, with the Beta coming in, with the Admiral starting life for us fantastically, with a few days left of the transfer window as well. Don't worry about it. There's still hope yet under Ainsworth. Now, kick off in 45 minutes. We'll be here with you for the next 30. We'll chat to a player who has played for both sides, and to be honest, one of my favourite Chairboys. We'll also get the opposition view, and we'll get the team news too. But first, let's take a look back at one of my favourite Wycombe Wanderers games, I reckon. Back at Griffin Park against the Bees, Boxing Day 2007. Did you remember it? Wycombe went a goal down thanks to a spectacular volley and managed to come back to get all 3 points.
Wycombe went into the game themselves in a bit of form. Paul Lambert's side had won 2 on the spin since that 6-0 hammering at Stockport. Both sides missed chances during a tight opening. Wycombe's Leon Johnson seeing a header cannon back off the crossbar. Then came one of the best goals Griffin Park, or any other Football League ground for that matter, has seen this season. Ryan Dixon's hanging corner, Glenn Poole with a spectacular volley. Brentford ahead on 23 minutes. Poole celebrated with his manager, although Scott may wish he hadn't. But if that was the most inspirational moment of the match, the most decisive came on the stroke of half-time. Ben Starosta's late lunge on Gary Holt, earning him a straight red card. 10-man Brentford were unable to live with Wycombe in the second period. Sergio Torres levelled for the visitors 10 minutes after the interval. The travelling fans only had to wait another 6 for their side to go in front. Craig Woodman's high ball spilled by Simon Brown. Scott McLeish on hand to score his 4th in 3 games. And with 65 minutes gone, Wycombe completed a spell of 3 goals in 10 minutes. Woodman again with the cross. John Sutton with a downward header. So for Wycombe, a 3rd straight win takes them into the playoff places. For Brentford, the rebuilding job must continue.
You're going to have tough times, you're going to have things go against you, and you've got to respond. So we've got to brush ourselves down and get ready for Chester and not feel sorry for ourselves.
The lads have been nothing short of brilliant for me since I've been at the football club, and all you can do is try and win as many football matches as you can.
Paul Lambert, Andy Scott, fantastic result. Lovely to see Sergio Torres and a little bit of John Sutton in there. Right, you can see the team news below. In a sec, we will catch up with, I think, one of my favourite opposition viewers. We'll catch up with Billy from the Besotted podcast. He came on last time. He's back in just a sec. First, let's get our team news then with Alicia Povey, who's with us in the stadium. Alicia, how are you?
Hey, Dan. I'm good. A bit chilly here, but let's hope for a good game.
Yes, we can see the team news below. Alicia, take us through it.
Lovely. So only 2 changes from the team that lined up against Tottenham on Monday. Obviously, we managed to hold the Lily Whites to 1-0 until the 86th minute. So we're hoping for another really strong defensive display. So Darius Charles comes in again for Joe Jacobson, who was substituted in the 36th minute on Monday, and he's still undergoing assessment. Charles also captains the team today. We've got Alex Patterson coming in for Matt Bloomfield, who is now on the bench. Fred Onyedinma starts, and he'll be hoping to continue his really good goal-scoring tally at the moment. And Uche is also on great form, and he'll be starting in the attacking lineup as well. The fans will probably be disappointed to see that the new signing, Jordan Abita, isn't on the team sheet. Unfortunately, his transfer went through slightly too late for him to be available, but we're looking forward to seeing him later on in the season. We've got some interesting matchups. One that we should be looking out for is Eve Antoni and Josh Knight, who were actually teammates at Peterborough. So that will be an interesting one. And it's also Jack Grimmer's 50th game, so we're hoping for a great display from him. And yeah.
Yeah, I think fingers crossed. I think you're right about Ivan Toney and Josh Knight, Peterborough teammates last season. Ivan absolutely ran around us last season. Let me just take you through the Brentford team. Raya, Henry, Pinnock, Canos, Jensen, De Silva, Ivan Toney up front, Godos, Dalsgaard, Fosu. Tarek Fosu's in there, and Beck Sørensen as well. Alicia, we come into this game on the back of a 4-1 loss against Spurs, but we were well in the game for 85 minutes. You played loads more football than I have. Talk us through what you made of the game.
It's a tough one because I think all of us who were there on the night, you see that 4-1 score and you think it doesn't feel like it was a 4-1 loss. The guys played really well and the defensive display was great. They created chances, they moved the ball well, and they caused problems for Tottenham. And obviously Tottenham are a top Premier League side. So obviously Brentford have been really strong in the league, 17 unbeaten. And I think it'll be a really good test. Coming from Monday playing Tottenham and now playing a top team in our division, I think it's going to be an interesting one. But yeah, it didn't feel like a loss because Wycombe played really well. It's just a shame that it wasn't in the league, but hopefully we'll get a few points on the board today.
Alicia Povey, thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you in just a sec. Thank you, Alicia. There's Phil Dancing. Phil Catchpole here today. Lovely to have Phil back because we're in London. Now, this is a spectacular stadium. I've said it before, it's such a shame that you can't be here. But it's brought to mind happier days when we've gone to stadiums all together, new, different stadiums, cutting-edge stadiums. So here's what I want to hear from you in the comments, if that's all right. Just write it out for me. I'll bring them up. What's your favourite away day? Could be for many different reasons. Maybe it's a new stadium that you got to go to for the first time. I remember Rotherham before they moved a few times when they were right in the heart of it, a bit like Fratton Park. Do you remember that? Surrounded by houses. It was stunning to be there. So take me through your favourite away grounds to visit. I will pop them on the screen and we'll have a chat about it. First, we're going to get the opposition view, I think. Billy Grant joined us last time from the Besotted podcast, and he's been kind enough to come back with us today. Hello, Billy.
Hello, Dan. How you doing?
Yes, I'm very well. Thank you for joining us. Now, Wycombe, we last spoke to you, a few months ago now. How have Brentford fared since then, since that draw?
I think we've not done too badly, actually. I don't actually think we've lost in the league pretty much since we played you last. We're on a 17 league match unbeaten run. So, it took us a bit of time to settle in the season. I mean, Wycombe Wanderers, as I said before, team that, like I said to you, I've got a lot of respect for. I've known you, like I said to you, from back in the day when you used to play your football when you're non-league. Steve Guppy even came round to my house and he let off a fire extinguisher in the front room, as I told you about before. So I know a lot about Wycombe Wanderers. And also the thing I do know about them is, like I said to you, is the way that you play your football and the spirit that you have is the type of team that we don't necessarily like playing against. Because as you know, we like to play our football on the floor. We like to play our passing game. Doesn't say that Wycombe can't play that type of football as well, because obviously you've got ballers, you've got people who can play football as well. But also you never give up to the end, and you're up for the battle. Sometimes we play teams and they're not up for the battle at all, but you're up for the battle. So it makes it difficult for us. So when we played you last time and we got that 0-0 draw, at the time we were a bit disappointed, but looking back on it, it was probably a little bit of a result. And since then, like I said, we've gone on and I think we've done really well. We were losing a quarter of our games last season 1-0. And this season we've knocked that out, so we're not losing so many games on the off. Team gets a break and they put the ball in the back of the net, so we're not losing as many games. We might draw some games instead of losing them, and also winning. So for us, we're kind of just chiseling away, and we're almost below the radar. So you've got your Norwiches, you've got your Swanseas up there. We're below the radar, and we're just keeping within there, sort of swimming away, hopefully for a little bit of an assault at the back end of the season.
Yeah, nice. Sorry, Billy, you're kind of dropping in and out, but I can see you now. That's all good. You talked about the back end of the season. It's quite the run-in at the top towards the end of the championship. For Wycombe, it's a case of needing to turn draws into wins. I think it might be the same for Brentford. Talk us through what you reckon the side need to do as we do come into the end of the final 20-odd games of the season.
I mean, this is a difficult one because at the end of the day, I mean, for me, I mean, we said sort of last season we were saying that, you know, if you're on a losing streak and then you lose a game and then you get back and then you win again, that's all right. But I'm now the situation. I'm thinking actually, I quite like the fact that we're not losing, and I think it's a bit of a habit that you don't lose. So for me, I don't want us to drop points. So you might go into a game like, you know, we played Swansea the other day. I'm not being funny. We absolutely battered Swansea. We wiped the floor with them, particularly in the first half. Second half, they came back a little bit, but we wiped the floor with them. They got a lucky goal, bit of a foul. They were fouling us all over the park. You know, okay, we didn't deal with that. And I came away really disappointed that we got a point from the second place team, Swansea. Normally you'd be, you know, away from home. Normally you'd be delighted, but we were gutted that we got only a point against Swansea. Then a couple of days later, I thought about it and I thought, actually, tell you something, we didn't lose against them. We got the point. We probably would have lost that last season. So for me, that's the main mentality. For Brentford, Ivan Toney was banging the goals in at the beginning of the season. But now what we've got is that we've got a sort of kind of more players, a plethora of players who are actually scoring. And for me, that's good because the teams don't know necessarily who to pick up on. And you're spreading the goals amongst the team. You know, as long as we can continue doing that, as long as we get statistically, Brentford have got the best defensive record in the league. I mean, I know Swansea have let in the least goals, but statistically, if you into your XG and your stats and all that lot, Brentford are by far the best statistically defensive team. So if we can keep that defence tight and then keep nicking wins and a little bit of draws here and there, for me, that's the way that we're going to be getting up the table. We're in a better position now than we were last season, and everyone was raving about us.
Well, I was speaking to someone in the stadium today who thought that although the loss at Wembley is a massive disappointment last season, maybe it could have come a year early. Now we've got a few days left of the transfer window, Billy. What would you like to see happen here at the Community Stadium?
I think we do need, because it's a long season, because we've got coronavirus season, you just never know how things are going to go. I think we're going to need a few more players to take us over the line. I mean, we did our podcast as well this week, which is Pride of West London, and the old fit Phil Catchbold is on there again this week, as he is every week. We discussed our transfers on there, and you know what, we've been talking about this for 6 months. We believe that we need to and we will get a winger in. We will get somebody who's got a bit of speed, put a little bit of pace into the side. So I'm hoping that's going to happen before the end, before the transfer window on Monday. And also there's talk in the papers as well of possibly getting a midfielder in as well. So that's going to be quite interesting as to whether or not we're going to get somebody else in to bolster our midfield as well as to get a winger in place to give us a bit of pace. And I think, you know, if we can get these two things in, it will definitely take Brentford up another level. Said Ben Rama has gone. They sort of ratified his transfer to West Ham a couple of days ago. I mean, that was a done deal anyway. He was gone in the summer, but you know, it's officially a done deal now. So Ben Rama missing is a loss. I mean, a creative player like that who can, unlock doors when teams go up and put two banks of four up, midfield and defence, and he comes in and does a sort of kind of double nutmeg and then, rainbow flick over his head and curls it at the top of the corner. That's what he did, and we missed that. But on the flip side of it, what we've done is we've become a lot more, probably a little bit less pretty than last season. But what we're doing is that we're a lot more, we're grinding out those results, and we get the results. We're still playing some good football, but what we're doing is that we're not necessarily making the mistakes that we did last season. So those two players coming in, I'll be very, very happy.
Amazing. Well, Billy from the Besotted podcast, if you're interested in football in West London, Besotted podcast is what you need to look up. Billy Grant, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us, and enjoy the rest of this. Batter every other team after you've played us. Hopefully we'll beat you. Must beat every other team in the league after this one. Please do it, okay?
Cheers, Billy. I didn't let him go early enough after they beat us. Just a sec, stay there. We're going to chat to, honestly, one of my favourite chairboys of the time. He's played for Brentford as well, played at Griffin Park, and he's on the show, on the stream in just a little bit. First, you can see the team news, how the chairboys are lining up just below. We spoke to Alicia earlier, and before that, she caught up with the gaffer to see what he made of things.
So Gareth, 2 changes today. Can you talk us through them?
Yeah, Alex Patterson obviously comes in the midfield area. We've had some success against Brentford in a couple of ways we've played, and I think once the game, Alex coming in gives me energy, gives me legs, a bit of youth. He wins his head as well. He's had a tough time in the 2 games he played earlier. He got sent off in one, and he felt responsible for a goal in another. He knows what he can give me, and I've spoke to him this morning about the energy that I want to see from him, and he's trained really, really well and scored the winner in the B team the other day. So Alex comes in, as well as Darius, who gets to start at the back there. Ryan Safazoli unavailable for selection for a couple of weeks, and he'll be back Tuesday, hopefully. Anthony got through 70, but it was his first minutes really, and the COVID restrictions the week before hasn't let Anthony get up to speed with his training fully. So Darius, who again, he used to play at Brentford, so it's a great game for him. And he's a voice. He's going to be leading. I want his instruction out there with the way we play. And again, I firmly believe we can give him a good game today.
Yep, and it's obviously a couple of tough games, but Tottenham on Monday and Brentford are 17 unbeaten in the league. Is this the kind of game that you want to see your players rise to the occasion on?
Yeah, I've spoke to him this morning about the 23 games to come now, and we've seen everyone once. We're going to play everyone again. And again, it's back to the start. Brentford, we were here first game of the season in the Cup. We did really well. Unlucky not to win that game. We've got more than enough to stay in this division, and they are tough games. They're all going to be tough games now, but with the addition of Jordan Obiti yesterday, I think he's again giving us depth that we've never had before. Still trying to work on one more coming in through the window, so have a fantastic squad to approach these games. Fingers crossed we can do it.
There you go, Gareth Ainsworth. You heard it at the end there. Looking forward for maybe one more face coming in before the transfer window slams shut. Now we're chatting about your favourite away days because this is such a spectacular stadium. It's such a shame you can't be here today, so let's crack through some of those. Horta says, another club in North Buckinghamshire. It's a lovely place to watch football. Thank you for that. Also, the Goldstoniatus 96 says Swindon. I always get very cold at Swindon. It's too exposed, but we've had some good days there. Do you remember when we were exposed, when we used to be behind the goal? No roof, no covering on it at all. Those were the days, weren't they? Adam Hutchinson enjoys going to Portman Road, Ipswich Town. Yes, a fantastic, beautiful place to watch football. Mission of Beast says Sunderland. We did lose badly last season, 4-0, wasn't it? The Spurs were a great laugh. It's nice that they have something to smile about, isn't it? Right, kick-off, 25 minutes. Wycombe taking on Brentford here at the Brentford Community Stadium. Let's check in with one of my favourite chairboys who's turned out for both of these teams. Welcome to Chairboys Live, Mr. Paul Hayes. Hey, Paul.
Dan, how you doing, mate?
I'm very, very well. How are you? How do we find you? How are you keeping?
Yeah, as well as we can be. It's very tough in the world with everything's going on, and it's not a position that we all want to be in, but we have to respect it and have to live by the rules. It's tough for everyone, but we have to crack on. The good thing is the football's still going.
Now, I've said that you played for both the Chairboys and the Bees. What do you make of your time at Brentford? You were here for a season and a bit, I seem to remember. How do you remember lining up? Back at Griffin Park now?
Yeah, it was. I was obviously signed a 3-year deal at the time and only lasted 18 months. Didn't start off well and ended terribly. So it was it probably wasn't the best transfer that you can have as a player, but it was hard. Like I say, I was living in Essex. It was in West London. I was travelling 2.5 hours every day. Well, 5-hour round trip to get to train and stuff, and it was just hard. I think along with the manager as well. So it was it was a tough year, 18 months. But don't kill you makes you stronger, as they say. Yeah, right.
Well, it's nice when footballers are so honest there, Paul. Thank you for that. I enjoyed asking you that question. Well, luckily, it was happier times when you lined up in the quarters down at Adams Park, scored some fantastic goals for us. I just wanted to run them by you because you're one of my favourite players I've really ever seen for the Chairboys. You had skill that the other of we had at the time. I recall the goal you scored. I think it was against Stevenage when you flicked it over and volleyed it in. That's my favourite goal you've scored. Obviously, the Spurs game. If you can, just talk us through some of your favourite goals that you remember scoring for the Chairboys. I seem to remember that the very first goal you scored for us came off your backside.
When I was on loan the first time?
Yeah, I think there was something like that.
No, the first goal I scored around from the halfway line after a few minutes. But obviously, you're not a big enough fan.
I've made a fool of myself. Right, take that away. Paul, talk us through your favourite goals for the Chairboys.
Obviously, probably the best one was the Tottenham goal, purely because of the occasion. Funny enough, I don't think I was down to start that game either. Back in the game before Paris was down to play, I think, but he played against Manfield, pulled a hamstring injury, and then Gaz had a difficult decision to make who to play, really. And I was playing for injuries at the time, so I weren't really playing my best. But Gaz kept faith with me to start me that game, and I think that was probably my favourite goal for Wycombe. But when I first come on loan, the few goals that I scored then, my debut goals, obviously the first goal that I said to you, but also one to come off my arse was obviously quite nice because it's when you come on loan to a club, you want to start well. And I obviously recall us being down the bottom, struggling, and we beat Hartlepool 5-0. But other goals, like I say, the Stevenage goal was quite sweet. It's just initiative, you don't plan it, but you see things on the pitch straight away, and just sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. And it was they're probably my best and favourite goal. The Exeter penalty, because it was so vital in the, I think it was 110th or 12th minute. It was in injury time, last kick of the game, that we had to score to keep our push to go up. It was some memorable goals.
It wasn't just goals that your skill shone through for the Chairboys. I remember you had a big part in Alfie Mawson's surge up the pitch against Luton. You did a lovely flick for him to volley that in. And it was quite a long time now, and I imagine for a footballer these moments might blend into each other. But just as a fan, talk us through what you remember of that when our centre-back is careering it towards you, turning into Maradona in front of your eyes, and you flick over to him. Just talk us through that moment, Hazy.
Well, obviously, me and Alfie go way back from when I was first at Brentford. He was a 20-year-old that was coming through the under-23s at Brentford, and he was sort of having injuries, and they sort of didn't like him so much. But when we started the season, we had Gary Dock, obviously our main man at the back, and then the last game before the season started, Akinde landed on his knee, and that was Dock done for the rest of his career. So we was in a position in the week going into it that Gaz had to bring a centre half in, and he mentioned Alfie, and I said, I'm not too sure. Alfie's a great player, but I don't know if he's ready, because he went out on loan to conference side and stuff, and he struggled a little bit. And I just said, as a man, he might struggle at the moment, but I know technically he's very, very good, very gifted. And he come in there and he just stormed the season, but he was always the ball-playing centre half of the two of him and Pierre, because everyone gets a bit nervous when Aaron was having touches on the ball, how strong he was. But he just finesse. Like I say, he just comes out with the ball. So the game at Luton, he reacted obviously to the ball first as the ball come out and said they're forward. And he come out, he's passed me the ball, and then he just carried on running. And as you do, I sort of just put it into an area for him to carry on running, because his pace there was going that way, and the defender couldn't obviously catch up with him. And I kind of knew, I've seen Alfie finishing in training, it's not bad, so I knew that he would at least get it on target. And I was disappointed he just didn't run to me to say thanks to AZ for doing that. So it's a bit disappointed.
Now, Paul, you mentioned when you first joined us, we were down the bottom of the table in League One at the time, relegation scrap under Gary Waddock. We find ourselves in a similar position. Championship, we're propping up the league table. At this point of the season, Paul, when we've got 20 games to play, what are the players thinking about? What do you think about when you're there? Are you eyeing up winnable games? How do you kind of get yourself ready for this?
It's hard because I say to everyone, football's all about confidence and fitness. So if you've got both of them, you can play to your maximum. Obviously, the boys are fit because knowing Gaz as well, he keeps them fit. Do you know what I mean? Gaz himself could probably still play at a certain level at the moment. He's getting on 50, isn't he? So he keeps the lads really, really fit and strong. So the fitness ain't the problem; it's the confidence. Like I say, unfortunately I got relegated twice in my career, and both times there was purely down to confidence and not really, believing in yourself and the team. And that's what it's like when you're down the bottom, and it's hard because people just turn around and say that you can easily snap out of it. Do you know what I mean? One win and you're on from it, but it's hard. It's negativity. It's playing against teams that have got a massive more budget than what you've got. You've got what you're playing against international players. Some of them they've got more players in the squad that can rotate. So it's always going to be very, very difficult for Wycombe. But the biggest thing that obviously, like anything when you're down the bottom, you've got to score more goals and you've got to win more games. The good thing is, like I say, halfway through the season, you've got, as Gaz said there, they've played everyone. You know what they're going to be up against the back end of the season. So the point is now is just go with no fear and just try and attack and try and score more goals. Because ultimately, as you look at it, Scotty's obviously the lead goal scorer with 4 goals up to Christmas, which ain't great for a forward. And the next one is JJ on 2. So when you look at it and you're looking at that there isn't goals. 23 games played, 16 goals. You have to score double that now going into the back end of the season. So I think Gaz will relish that, and I think the players will understand that they've got to step up to the plate, because ultimately when you cross that line, it's down to the players what you do. Tactics, system, formations go out the window. It's just about performing at the right time at the right place. And when we say about the Tottenham thing, the occasion, it's just when you look at it, we probably didn't have too many shots, but we was ruthless. And I think the boys now need to be a bit more ruthless going towards goal now. And I've every faith, because when you look at their attacking lineup, they've got goals, because in the last 5 years at Wycombe, the Wycombe teams always score goals. When you look at it, they've scored a lot of goals. So, and the players don't lose that overnight. So I definitely think that they've got goals in them. It's just making sure that they can be more ruthless.
Yeah, I think you're right. We've always had goals in them. Perhaps they haven't always come from the strikers. I remember a few years ago when I think Harriman and JJ were our top scorers at the end. Now, listen, just before you go, Paul, it was a huge, very sad to see you retire a couple of seasons ago. What are you doing with yourself now? You're still in football in some capacity, more at the back end of with footballers' lifestyles. Is that right?
Yeah, so I've set up a concierge company. More like the fact of when I was a player, I realised that no one looks after you off the pitch. Do you know what I mean? You have your agent for your contracts and everything else, cars, holidays, insurances, you're on your own. So, and I got ripped off a lot of time in my career. So I wanted to set up a lifestyle management where I can just help people out and make sure they get the best deals and best discounts on cars, holidays, insurances, properties abroad. Just the main things that you need in life, mortgages. So, I set that up. Obviously, a few of the players have come to me already and I've sorted them out. But it's to the general public as well, Dan, if I'm honest. It's to anyone that wants to be looked after or just have an easier life knowing that they're not ripped off. So, I've set that up and it's going well considering the pandemic, shall I say. It's going well, and once obviously we're out of that, then I'm really enjoying it, mate.
Brilliant. Well, Paul Hazy, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all the memories, the deft touches, the fantastic goals on the pitch, and I mean for that Spurs goal, you'll go down in Chairboys history. Paul Hayes, thank you so much for joining us.
Dan, thanks, mate. Take it easy. Good luck today.
You too, pal. Thank you. While we're saying hello to Chairboys legends, lastly, hello, Jock. Hello, Gemma. Thanks for joining us, pal. Nice to see you watching on Facebook. Right, before we go, now is the time to get your iFollow pass, by the way. Away, the Brentford Community Stadium, the way that you can watch is with the iFollow pass. You can get it at wwfc.com. You heard Ainsworth earlier on say, fingers crossed, we might be able to sneak one more face through the door into the trading ground in the transfer window when it slams shut at the start of next week. We managed it yesterday as well. Poached in from Oxford. We've got a new left back, Jordan Abita. Here's some of his best moments so far. Lovely to see another goal-scoring left-back turning up for the cause, isn't it? Jordan Avita signed yesterday. Hopefully he can link up with his good mate, ex-teammate, current teammate, Gareth McCleary. Fingers crossed we get to see that in the next few months. Listen, thank you for watching another Chairboys Live from the Brentford Community Stadium. Just 20 matches to go of the season. Keep your fingers crossed. Let's hope we can make a start on that today. Kick off just over 10 minutes away against Brentford. Get your iPhone passes now, and we will see you next week. Thank you for watching. Come on the Chairboys.